Power washed them, degreased them, let them hang outside. Heck, I had them out for a couple months actually. Getting here early fall, it's time to start fixing them up. I've got some logwood trap dye here. You can use just about anything. Walnut hulls work real well. You can boil walnut hulls. Anything that'll dye them or turn them dark. This happens to be the logwood trap dye. It'll do about 3 dozen traps, this little packet here will. I got about 6 gallons of water in here in this old tub and heating it up with propane. The old timers, they had to use regular fire and ash, but we got it a little easier these days. But to put your dye in that 6 gallons of water, it's boiling water, very hot. Got to be careful, get that dye in there, and we'll get it ready, get it soaking. We'll stir it up good. Once we get it stirred up good and it gets good and hot, I got my traps sitting here in a bucket of hot water, just kind of heating them up so it don't steal so much heat out of my traps, but they're ready to go. We'll dip them in that dye here in a little bit and get them ready to use this fall. We got a good hot fire in there. Got 6 gallons of water. There's our Duke traps. As you can see, they're rusted up really good by leaving them out this summer. They're going to take a dye really well. Basically, just lower them down in there. Be careful not to splash yourself or get up some kind of a nice stiff hook. Put them down in that boiling water. Usually about 20-30 minutes. You can leave them as long as you want. Just you want them good and coated. Again, this is that offset Duke. We're going to put them to good use here before long. See if we can't catch some fur. Well, it's been about 35-40 minutes. See what we got here. I'm hung up down there with my string. Right, yeah, they're looking pretty good. Dyed pretty good. All right, I'm going to let him pull them out and let them cool off a little bit, because we want to put our wax in our water, but I want the water to cool down because wax is flammable. We'll pull them out of here, turn our heat down a little bit, and we'll melt our wax. That's the kind of covering you want. You want a good, where it's really blackened it up. It took good dye all the way across, pan, springs, jaws, everything. You see why you don't wear good clothes while you're messing with traps. You wear dirty clothes or old clothes because they're going to get dirty. But that's the kind of coating you want. We'll let that cool down, put our wax in, we'll get them waxed. All right, we got our water cooled down some. It's still hot. I got the heat turned way back, but still hot. I want to melt the wax. So what we're going to do is put the wax in, let it melt over the top. It'll melt and form over the top, and then we'll dip our traps in. After they heat up a little bit, pull them back out and try to get a good coat of wax on. This is Pete's Best wax. Basically, it'll do a couple dozen traps, a brick like this. Do a couple dozen traps. Instructions are on the back. You can break it up, or you can just set it in there. It's going to melt on its own. Doesn't cost very much. You can use regular canning wax you can get at Walmart or any other place. It just happens to be an odorless trap wax that these guys make. Again, it's Pete's Best wax. Doesn't matter which one you use. We're going to set that rascal down in that warm water. Oh yeah, it's going to melt. You can see it coming off as we speak. So drop it in there. Now, one thing I do every year that I wax is because I'm a cheapskate. Actually, you just got to make everything count. This is wax that once I waxed my traps last year, shut the heat off, let it cool down overnight, come back, and the wax will be on top. It'll be hardened, and I break it up and I put it back into a bag and I save it for the next wax session. So I'm going to add just a little bit of that in there as well. So I got plenty of wax in there. But you can salvage your wax after it cools off and use it the next time. We're going to put our traps in now. We got our wax melted. Got our traps down in there. We're going to let them get heated up there 15, 20, 30 seconds. And then as they get heated up, we're basically just going to pull them right up through the wax. Nice and slow. And you'll see that wax that's just coated on there. You can get them waxed too heavy and you can get them too thin. You just want to make sure you get a good covering. You throw them in there, heat them up, pull them right back up through the wax. And that's basically it when it comes to boiling waxing. It takes figure on a couple hours of messing with it. Heat your water up, put your dye in, get your traps good and hot, and let them soak, 30 to 45 minutes. Get a good black covering on them. Cool your water down. Add your wax. Put your traps back in 15 seconds to a minute, 2 minutes, whatever. Pull them back through and get a good coat of wax on them. And that after they cool off here, I'll check them and make sure I got a good even coat. You'll see it stacked up. If you got it too thick, if you look at it's caked on somewhere, put them right back in, heat them up, and then pull them back out, and it'll take that wax off while it's hot. So kind of look your traps over before you shut everything down and cool your wax off.